Mazda has made its boldest EV move yet, but it is not the simple electric takeover the headline suggests. The new CX-6e pairs a 78 kilowatt-hour battery with up to 484 kilometers of WLTP range, putting it beside the Tesla Model Y and BYD Ceylon 7. Yet Mazda is also cutting planned electrification spending and delaying its own EV platform. The company is entering the race by borrowing speed from China while protecting its cash. Is that smart timing or a dangerous delay? In January 2026, Mazda revealed the CX-6e at the Brussels Motor Show. It looked like the electric Mazda many buyers had been waiting for. This was not another small city car with limited range. It was a full-size electric SUV aimed at the heart of the global EV market. Mazda plans to launch it in Europe during the summer of 2026, followed by Australia later in the year. It joins the Mazda 6e electric sedan and gives the company a far more serious EV lineup. That matters because Mazda's earlier MX-30 struggled to compete. Its short range and limited availability left Mazda watching from the edge while Tesla, BYD, Hyundai, and Kia moved ahead. The CX-6e appears to change that. It offers a larger battery, faster charging, more space, and enough claimed range for daily travel and longer family trips. Yet the vehicle is not completely Mazda-made. Its foundation comes from the EZ60, an electric SUV first revealed in China. The vehicle was developed through Mazda's partnership with Changan Automobile. Changan provides much of the electric platform and digital technology, while Mazda adds its body design, interior style, and driving setup. This partnership allows Mazda to enter the market faster. Developing an electric platform alone can take years and cost billions. Sharing proven hardware cuts both the time and financial risk. But there is another side to the announcement. Mazda's own electric platform, once expected much sooner, has reportedly been delayed until at least 2029. The company has also reduced its planned electrification spending through 2030. So Mazda has not revealed a secret battery that suddenly places it ahead of Tesla or BYD. It has chosen a different way to compete. Use Chinese electric technology now, spend less, and continue developing its own system more slowly. The numbers make Mazda look more serious, but the company behind those numbers reveals a very different EV plan. That cautious decision makes more sense once Mazda's first electric failure is placed beside today's competition. Mazda's cautious strategy begins with a painful lesson. Before the CX-6e, the company entered the American EV market with the MX-30. It looked modern, felt well-built, and carried Mazda's familiar design. But one number weakened almost everything else. Its EPA estimated range was only about 100 miles. That could cover normal commuting, school trips, and local shopping. Yet it left little room for cold weather, highway driving, or an unexpected journey. A driver beginning the day with less than a full charge could quickly face range anxiety. Longer trips also required more charging stops than many competing electric cars. Mazda had reasons for using a small battery. A smaller pack costs less, weighs less, and requires fewer raw materials. It can make sense for drivers who travel short distances and charge at home every night. But customers were not buying an engineering theory. They were comparing complete vehicles. Tesla, Hyundai, Kia, and other brands offered electric models with far greater range. Many also had normal rear doors and more useful back seats. The MX-30 used small, rear-hinged doors that looked interesting but made the second row harder to reach. In the United States, Mazda limited sales mainly to California, making an already narrow product even harder to find. The result was a short American life. The MX-30 lasted only 2 model years before Mazda removed it from the market. Its attractive cabin and light environmental idea could not overcome the practical limits buyers faced every day. That failure taught Mazda something important. Style and driving feel still matter, but an electric vehicle must first remove fear. It needs enough range, useful space, reasonable charging times, and a price that makes sense beside stronger rivals. Subscribe if you want clear automotive stories that separate real engineering from the claims surrounding it. Mazda's second attempt now starts with a battery more than twice the size, and a much stronger promise on the road. The difference begins under the floor. Instead of the MX-30's small battery, the Mazda CX-6e uses a 78 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery, usually called LFP. LFP is simply a type of lithium battery chemistry. It avoids expensive metals such as nickel and cobalt, which can help control cost. It is also known for strong safety and a long working life. The trade-off is weight. LFP batteries usually store less energy for their size than some nickel-based packs, so manufacturers may need a heavier battery to deliver the same range. Even with that limit, Mazda claims the European CX-6e can travel up to 484 kilometers, or about 300 miles under the WLTP test cycle. That is nearly 3 times the American range rating of the old MX-30. More importantly, it places the new SUV in a range class that can handle much more than short city journeys. However, WLTP is a controlled laboratory test. It helps shoppers compare vehicles tested under the same rules, but it does not promise 484 kilometers in every situation. High speeds, cold weather, steep roads, heavy loads, and cabin heating can all reduce the distance. Power comes from one motor mounted at the rear. It produces 190 kilowatts, equal to roughly 258 horsepower, along with 290 newton-meters of torque. That should provide smooth acceleration for overtaking and motorway entry without turning the CX-6e into an extreme performance SUV. Charging may be more important than speed. European specifications list a maximum DC charging rate of around 195 kilowatts. Mazda says the battery can move from 10 to 80% in about 24 minutes under suitable conditions. Australian information promotes a 30 to 80% charge in around 15 minutes. Those claims use different starting points, so they should not be treated as identical tests. For a family, the benefit is simple. A charging stop could fit into the time needed for coffee, food, or a short rest. But the result still depends on charger power, battery temperature, weather, and how many other vehicles are using the station. There is also no announced all-wheel drive option. Some SUV buyers may see that as a weakness, especially in snowy or rural areas. The specifications finally make Mazda competitive on paper. But the most important part of this Mazda was not created in Hiroshima. That hidden detail sits at the center of Mazda's new strategy. The CX-6e wears a Mazda badge, but its electric foundation comes through the company's partnership with Changan Automobile in China. The vehicle began as the Mazda EZ60 for the Chinese market. Underneath, it is closely related to Changan's Deepal S07 and uses technology developed through the Changan-Mazda joint venture. This partnership has existed for years, but the CX-6e makes its importance much easier to see. Platform sharing is like building a house with a proven frame. Mazda did not design every beam from the ground up. Changan supplied the main electric structure, battery integration, digital systems, and production experience. Mazda then shaped the exterior, selected cabin materials, and adjusted key areas to match its own identity. According to Mazda, that includes steering, suspension, safety systems, and the way the car responds to the driver. The company wants the CX-6e to follow its Jinbai-Tai idea, which describes a close connection between the driver and the vehicle. In simple terms, Mazda wants the shared electric SUV to feel natural and easy to control, rather than heavy and distant. This approach offers a major advantage: speed. Changan already has electric platforms, suppliers, factories, and software knowledge. Using that foundation allows Mazda to launch a competitive SUV without waiting for its own platform to arrive years later. It also reduces the financial risk for a company much smaller than Toyota, Volkswagen, or Hyundai. However, the partnership creates a problem of identity. Mazda buyers often choose the brand because its cars feel different. If the CX-6e drives too much like another Chang'an product with a redesigned body, some customers may question what makes it a true Mazda. There is also a regional limit. A China-built electric vehicle can compete in Europe and Australia, but tariffs and political barriers make the same plan far harder in the United States. Mazda cannot simply use one solution everywhere. The partnership gives Mazda the product it needs today. Yet its success will depend on whether buyers see clever cooperation or little more than a familiar badge on borrowed technology. That shared engineering gives Mazda speed, but price will decide whether buyers care where it came from. Borrowed technology becomes easier to accept when it saves buyers money. In Australia, the CX-6e GT starts at $53,990 Australian dollars before on-road costs. The better-equipped Azami costs $56,990. Both versions receive the same 78 kilowatt-hour battery, 190 kilowatt rear motor, and rear-wheel drive layout. When Mazda announced those prices in April 2026, the entry model sat below two important rivals. The BYD Ceylon 7 started at $54,990, while the Tesla Model Y began at $58,900. Prices and special offers can change, but Mazda had clearly positioned its electric SUV inside the market rather than above it. The value story continues inside. The GT includes a wide 26.45-inch display, a panoramic roof, a 360-degree camera, and an augmented reality driving display. There is also storage under the front hood, giving families another place for charging cables or small bags. The Azami adds larger wheels and digital mirrors, although those features may not justify the extra cost for every buyer. Mazda's claimed Australian driving range is about 468 kilometers under the WLTP test. That should be enough for most daily travel and many weekend trips. However, Tesla and BYD have more experience building complete electric ecosystems. Tesla offers a well-known charging network and mature route planning software. BYD controls much of its battery supply and has built a strong reputation for delivering a large amount of equipment at aggressive prices. Mazda answers with something different. It has a broad dealer network, a familiar name, and years of experience serving drivers who may be buying their first EV. Some people will find that more reassuring than choosing a newer electric brand. Still, the purchase price is only the beginning. Insurance, software support, charging performance, battery aging, and resale value can change the true cost of ownership. The CX-6ES screen-heavy cabin may also feel unfamiliar to traditional Mazda drivers who prefer physical controls. At similar prices, would you choose Mazda's design and dealer network, or Tesla and BYD's longer EV experience? Explain your choice below. Mazda can compete on showroom value, but its larger financial decision shows why it refuses to fight Tesla on Tesla's terms. Mazda's price strategy is tied to a much larger financial decision. Building EVs alone requires new batteries, motors, software, factories, and supply chains. For a smaller company, one badly timed investment could become a serious burden. In March 2025, Mazda announced what it called a lean asset strategy. At that point, the company planned to launch an in-house battery EV in 2027. Yet it wanted to avoid the huge spending normally linked to a new electric platform. Mazda said partnerships and shared technology could reduce development investment by 40% and cut development work by half. It also planned to build electric and gasoline-powered vehicles on flexible production lines. Instead of creating an expensive EV-only factory, Mazda wanted one plant to respond as customer demand changed. That plan soon became even more cautious. In its May 2026 financial presentation, Mazda reduced its planned electrification investment through 2030 from 1.5 trillion yen to 1.2 trillion yen. The company described this as an optimization of its strategy, not an exit from electric vehicles. It had reviewed its battery, motor, electric drive, and future product plans before deciding where the money should go. Industry reports also say Mazda's first proprietary EV has moved from 2027 to at least 2029. Mazda continues developing electric technology, but final timing may depend on customer demand, government rules, tariffs, and the speed of the wider market. For now, the company is spreading its risk. Chang'an-backed vehicles can fill gaps in Europe, China, and Australia. Hybrids can serve customers who want lower fuel use without relying completely on public chargers. Mazda can also continue selling gasoline vehicles where EV demand remains weak. This flexibility may protect its cash. Several larger automakers have spent billions building electric factories while demand and government policies changed around them. Mazda wants to avoid owning expensive plants that cannot run at full capacity. But waiting carries its own cost. Tesla, BYD, Hyundai, and other rivals continue collecting driver data, improving software, lowering battery costs, and building customer loyalty. Mazda may save money today while losing valuable experience tomorrow. Mazda has protected its balance sheet. The final test is whether it has also protected its future. Mazda's biggest EV announcement is real, but it is more complicated than a sudden technical revolution. The CX-6e is confirmed. Its 78 kWh LFP battery, 190 kW rear motor, Chang'an connection, and planned European and Australian launches are also confirmed. Mazda has reduced its planned electrification investment through 2030 to 1.2 trillion yen. What remains less certain is the timing of its own electric platform, which industry reports now place in 2029. The impressive performance numbers also require context. The claimed range of up to 484 kilometers comes from the European WLTP test. The charging times were measured under selected conditions with a suitable fast charger. Weather, road speed, battery temperature, and charger quality will affect what owners achieve in normal use. Even so, the CX-6e is Mazda's strongest modern battery electric offer. It solves the MX-30's largest problems by providing much more range, faster charging, greater space, and a price designed to compete directly with established electric SUVs. Its greatest advantage is speed. Chang'an gave Mazda access to a working EV platform without forcing the smaller Japanese company to spend years developing every part alone. That protects cash and allows Mazda to enter important markets while its own technology remains unfinished. Its biggest weakness is dependence. Mazda must prove that the CX-6e still feels like one of its cars. It must also develop a solution for markets where China-built vehicles face high tariffs or political barriers. Most importantly, it cannot keep delaying its proprietary platform while competitors improve their batteries, software, and manufacturing. So, is Mazda's strategy smart timing or a dangerous delay? Right now, it is both. The partnership is a sensible short-term answer because it gives customers a more capable electric Mazda today. But it becomes dangerous if Mazda treats borrowed speed as a permanent replacement for its own progress. The plan can succeed if the CX-6e performs well in real-world tests, earns buyer trust, and gives Mazda enough time to create a competitive in-house EV. If 2029 brings another delay, today's careful strategy may begin to look like lost ground. If this breakdown helped you understand Mazda's real EV plan, like it and share it with someone considering an electric SUV. Mazda has not won the EV race, but it may have found a less expensive way to remain in it.